So sit comfortably. I'm just going to talk a bit. It's not a formal talk. Just putting things together in the theme of Vairocana. So I wanted to actually start with a bit of history. One very often hears or reads about the time that the Buddha and Christ and other great teachers emerged around 2000 years ago as the actual age where enlightenment and higher teachings emerged into the world. But I've been very struck that there was a great flowering, especially in Asia and Southeast Asia, in Buddhism, around the 8th and 9th century, with huge universities, enormous temples, big schools of practicing temples, Buddhism, in what is called the Mahayana and Vajrayana schools of Buddhism. And this flowering was really extraordinary, actually, all over India, China, Japan, and Indonesia. And sometimes Indonesia kind of gets left out, which I think is a pity. But this is a good day to bring Indonesia in, because there was a whole dynasty where they focused on Vairocana. And they made these vast edifices, one of them being Borobudur. So Jenny, if you want to put up the Borobudur picture for everyone, if I get a chance, I might turn this around, and if it works, it's not always great, but I will also show people. It's not always perfect. Okay, no, well, okay, so it's small, but I just wanted to show you, the picture's small. It's actually the largest Buddhist edifice in the world at Borobudur, and it's a mandala which you walk around from top to bottom, and it's a path, effectively, from worldly consciousness right up into enlightened consciousness. And it's called Borobudur. It's in Indonesia. And it's important because it sort of shows very graphically and very directly that you're on a path. You walk around it. There's like 2,500 sculptures as you walk around. When you get to the top, it's all about Vairocana. And so that is really important, I think, in the history of Mahayana Vajrayana Buddhism. And it's also, in a way, draws out important facets of what Vairocana symbolizes. So there is an analogy, which I think is really great. I mean, everyone might not relate to it, but the analogy is there is an ocean, a vast, vast ocean, and within the ocean there's lots of life, fishes and animals and vegetable life and all kinds of life in that ocean, and they arise and they fall, they live and they die, they evolve, things happen. And mostly the fish and the animals and the plant life aren't really aware how vast the ocean is, and that they're in it. And if you then move to the significance of that to us, we're like all the fish and the animals in the ocean, and we're in the ocean. And the ocean is here, and the ocean is enlightened mind, is Vairocana's body of enlightenment. So the teaching is that it's here all the time, but we're caught up, usually, in our own worlds and course of thinking and activity responses. But part of the process of practicing the Dharma is to practice in such a way that you become aware that you're part of something which is much greater. And meditation, mindfulness, going on retreats, taking time on your own, reflecting on how things in your life come and go, arising, contribute to that awareness and openness to what is called the Dharmadhatu, or the body of the Buddha. So Vairocana here is really, in a way, he's really higher and different from the other Buddhas of the Mandala. So with the other Buddhas, like Amitabha Buddha, who some of you might be familiar with, there have been traditions that have developed in Buddhism, in the Buddhist world, of supplication and devotion. Oh, can I have a Mercedes-Benz, please? You know, kind of thing. It's Janis Joplin reference there. But Vairocana is really never seen that way. It's not an object for supplication, but much more a sense of aspiration and direction, something that you're aiming to yourself, to gain the wisdom that allows you to see everything that's flowing in conditioned arising as flowing, changing, moving, without being fixing your personality and your identity to such a degree that you can't relate to the bigger picture of the Dharmadhatu. So the path, seen from this point of view, is that you're moving on. Is this being recorded? So you're moving in the body of the Buddha, who is Vairocana. And Vairocana has this mudra of the teaching mudra, which in a way is communicating that one can always hear the truth if one listens. The truth of how things are can always be perceived or heard or related to, but you have to listen. You have to reflect and take it in. Now, just to be absolutely clear, Vairocana, or the Dharmadhatu, is not in any way related to the concept of a God. Not reified, deified, not a creator God. It's a completely different idea. Just to be clear about that. Another picture, wonderful picture. Again, it's relatively small on the screen. So this also is near to Borobudur. Mahut, I think it's called. It's a temple. It's huge. And this is ultimate reality, embodied. It's unusual, a seated Buddha, almost in Western style, on a chair. But very, very beautiful, very imposing. Yes, so thank you very much, Ginny, for that. So there is that tradition that lasted, or I don't know, 120 to 200 years in India, in different parts of Indonesia, in Indonesia. But there were other very sophisticated schools of philosophy about Vairocana that emerged at the same time, particularly in Japan with Shingon, Kokusai, and Mount Koya. There was an enormous movement, and still is going on, actually, where Vairocana is still primary. Now, in Triratna and Western Buddhist order, it's kind of, the situation is, he is not talked about all that much. I did put he in inverted commas, definitely not just a he. I was talking to a very experienced order member, and who's been through all the processes of ordination and study. He said, you hardly ever hear about Vairocana. And that, I thought, yeah, actually that's true. So it's very good to be able to just communicate that actually there is a bigger picture in terms of Buddhist history, the Buddhist world, where Vairocana has a central, huge part. And it's all very interesting and very sophisticated, with all kinds of tantric rituals, mudras, visualizations, the bodhisattva ideal, all kinds of things, but still associated with this Buddha. I must move on. Enough of history. So I wanted to just, in a way, riff a bit on the mudra, the wheel, turning of the wheel of the Dharma, which one can get the sense that you can see the Dharma in everything in your everyday life, everything that you experience, in yourself and others. You can always learn from it. You can always get a lesson from it about the nature of how things arise and fall away, for example, and how you personally fix things, hold to things. And as a result of that fixing and holding, how you kick off on certain things. You react to certain things. I don't like that. Oh, I like that. And in that way, you start to get a sense of how you're fixing and holding and seeing through that. And in a way, there is a process here of reflection and letting go of how it doesn't serve you in any way. It's paradoxical because it's like it's all about me, but actually it's not. It's just not being so much about you serves you much better. It actually helps you be happier, which is a good thing. Let it be said. I really have to keep an eye on the time here. So in that way, that one of the things about the skills of meditation that are particularly useful here is that it allows you to go deeper than just superficial mind and all the kind of, if you know what I mean, the ways that your mind chatters and goes on, into something deeper and quieter and clearer, where, however, there is still a level of thinking. So this idea that meditation is about eroding thinking isn't actually all that helpful. what we need to have is a sense of connectedness with those depths and the ability to have very subtle thought. And that subtle thought allows us to reflect creatively and usefully about change, and that everything is changing. And that reflection allows you as an individual to see through, oh, I'm fixing this, let that go, be more open, and something changes within you. And that shift then can be absorbed, into your experience. I mean, I use the word your experience here quite lightly because there isn't a very strong sense of you in this. It's getting a bit esoteric here, but it's still experience and it's still you, but it's not very fixed you, if you see what I mean. So you start to bring in this reflection in your life. So I think it's just very useful to make space and time periodically where you don't have pressures of having to do anything, either your own pressures and drives, got to do, fill the space, or pressures from outside. I got to do that, I got to do that, they need me, whatever takes you away, and make space, time and space, where you can arrive into this more open, subtle, flowing awareness that allows you to have this subtle reflection on change and you in terms of the way you hold and letting go of it. So this is really the practical point I wanted to make, that it is a practical thing to get to use the states of meditation to help you tune in to the nature of how things are, conditioned arising and the underlying ocean of the Dharma.